90 Day Fiancé's Sarper posted an update on his stand-up comedy career, and I'm legitimately shocked by it. Sarper Given is in the United States and happily married to his longtime girlfriend, Shekinah Garner. It's been a long time coming, and there was almost a point where this relationship fell apart entirely, but now they're together and working on living the American dream. For Sarper, that means being a stand-up comedian, and I'm legitimately shocked to report it seems to be going well for him. I had doubts Sarper would fulfill his dream of a successful career in comedy, especially given past moments on 90 Day Fiancé where he seemed to lack a sense of humor. I'm happy to report, however, that it seems like things are going well for him, which I think most fans would be shocked by after hearing a recent update on his current tour. Sarper announced he's sold out an upcoming comedy show. In what might be the most surprising 90 Day Fiancé news since I learned Asula Pula joined the military, Sarper is having some success on his stand-up comedy tour. The Istanbul native, who is occasionally the butt of jokes for other 90 Day cast members, is getting quite a response at the box office for his tour. He also recently announced on Instagram that he had to open up a second show in Washington, D.C. The website for Sarper's upcoming comedy show confirmed tickets are on sale for a second show, though the showtime is listed at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time. That aside, I'm glad to see this career path working out for him, and he's come a long way from thinking he may not even make it to the United States when 90 Day Fiancé was filming. Sarper's stand-up routine on 90 Day Fiancé needed serious work. Those who watched the latest season of 90 Day Fiancé may remember Sarper's first stand-up comedy performance and how quickly it went off the rails. He largely abandoned his script midway through the segment in an effort to start roasting Shekinah's old fling, Dan. What started off as mildly funny jabs quickly turned into pointed insults that half the audience didn't understand the context of. Dan and Sarper did have issues going into the show, after some heated conversations that took place between them at social events in previous 90 Day Fiancé episodes. It really led to him bombing the initial comedy show, and seemed to put him in the doghouse with Shekinah's friend group more than when he revealed that wild weight clause he had for their prenuptials. Apparently, with some practice and no Dan in the crowd, Sarper is pulling in crowds wanting to see his stand-up comedy. That said, I'm sure there are people who also want to be in the same room as a legacy star of 90 Day Fiancé, as it's not like these cast members go on tours all that often. If a 90 Day cast member were headed to my town, I'd feel compelled to see them, which is to say, Sarper, please book more comedy shows. Sarper and Shekinah are out of the 90 Day Fiancé franchise currently, but readers can revisit their past seasons over on HBO Max. I guess also keep an eye peeled for Sarper on the comedy circuit in a town near you as well, as he's moving tickets and probably considering a few more dates. 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way Season 7 cast photos, meet all the couples from TLC series. TLC has revealed the couples for 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way Season 7, which includes 4 new couples and 2 returning fan-favorite couples. 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way Season 7 is set to premiere on Monday, September 8 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time/Pacific Time on TLC. The returning couples for the new season are Jenny, California, and Sumit, India, as well as Luke, California, and Madeleine, Colombia. Joining the series in Season 7 are Greta, Oklahoma, and Matthew, England, Anthony, California, and Manon, France, Patia, Texas, and Dylan, Tasmania, and Chloe, Massachusetts, and Johnny, Aruba. 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way follows Americans leaving behind their lives in the U.S. to start over with their partners abroad, facing unfamiliar cultures, new family dynamics, and the pressure of building a future far from home. Whether they're adjusting to life in a quiet English village, facing isolation in remote Tasmania, navigating jealousy on the beaches of Aruba, or confronting new challenges in India and Medellin, each couple faces deeply personal turning points that push their relationships to the brink. 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way is produced by Sharp Entertainment, a part of Sony Pictures Television, Nonfiction, for TLC. TLC announces the return of 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way with new couples, new countries, and unforgettable challenges. Los Angeles, California, TLC's 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way returns with 4 new couples and 2 fan favorites, risking everything for love. These Americans are leaving behind their lives in the U.S. to start over with their partners abroad, facing unfamiliar cultures, new family dynamics, and the pressure of building a future far from home. Whether they're adjusting to life in a quiet English village, facing isolation in remote Tasmania, navigating jealousy on the beaches of Aruba, or confronting new challenges in India and Medellin, each couple faces deeply personal turning points that push their relationships to the brink. Greta, Oklahoma, and Matthew, England. After meeting on a vegan dating app and bonding over cats and shared quirks, Greta moves to England to begin her life with Matthew in a quiet English village. But with Matthew's parents under the same roof and the challenges of adjusting to living together, their new beginning may be harder than either of them expected. Anthony, California, and Manon, France. Married with a toddler and teetering on the edge of burnout, Anthony and Manon moved to France in a last-ditch effort to save their marriage. But between clashing family members, mounting financial stress, and zero personal space, yes, they're sharing a bed with their child, this fresh start may bring more pressure than peace. Can they rediscover the spark, or is it already too late? Padia, Texas, and Dylan, Tasmania. An exotic dancer and her much younger Aussie boyfriend are finally ready to build a life together in Tasmania after more than a decade of on and off long-distance love. With a 20-year age gap between them, Padia and Dylan face more than just cultural differences. As Padia adjusts to a completely new environment, the couple must also navigate Dylan's close relationship with his mother who lives 5 minutes away, lingering trust issues, and the realities of merging two very different worlds. Chloe, Massachusetts, and Johnny, Aruba. Chloe met Johnny, a charismatic pirate boat tour guide, while vacationing in Aruba. Now, she's ready to leave her life in Boston behind to be with him full-time. As their relationship deepens, Chloe must confront Johnny's flirtatious job, her skeptical family and friends, and growing concerns about trust between them. Returning, Jenny, California, and Sumit, India. After years of cultural clashes, family opposition, and a secret marriage, Jenny and Sumit have finally earned the blessing of Sumit's family, but at a cost. Their once independent life in India is about to change as they move in with Sumit's parents. With privacy gone and family dynamics front and center, will their hard-won love survive this new chapter? 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Season 9 Episode 10 Recap, Tears, Phone Snooping, and a Florida Curveball. Some weeks, 90 Day Fiancé delivers background noise. Other weeks, it sets off chain reactions that make you wonder if any of these couples have ever had a genuine conversation outside of cameras. Season 9 Episode 10 landed firmly in the latter category, a slow-burn car crash where every storyline managed to bleed into the next. Kara's teary meltdown flowed neatly into Elizabeth's discovery that her husband is basically the FBI, which dovetailed into Jasmine and Matt's relocation bombshell, before the hour closed on Brandon and Julia learning, again, that Betty treats weddings like hostile takeovers. It all began with Kara and Guillermo's trip, billed as a chance to reset their marriage, but it quickly unraveled into accusations and recriminations. Guillermo leaned into the cheating narrative so hard you'd think he was auditioning for a Maury reboot, while Kara tried to flip the script by hinting maybe he was the guilty one. The confrontation reached its peak when she begged him to look her in the eye and deny it. He did, but the denial landed with all the authenticity of a bad reality audition tape. 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Season 9 has been wild. He whined about her staying out late, she claimed she was doing the hard work of networking for her singing career, and then the tears came. Kara insisted she no longer believed Guillermo was her person, slammed the hotel door on the way out, and left him blinking in shock like a man surprised to see the fire after playing with matches. These two need to cut their ties and move on. From there, the energy only got more chaotic at Yara's launch party, which was less about whatever she was peddling this week and more about blowing up every relationship in the room. Elizabeth decided to confront Alexei about allegedly making rude comments about Lauren's body, but before that conversation could even land, Andre chimed in with one of the most reckless admissions of the season: he'd been snooping through Elizabeth's phone. In a franchise full of bad decisions, this one ranks high. Lauren's disgust was immediate, Elizabeth's fury was volcanic, and Andre suddenly looked like a man who realized he'd not only detonated his marriage but also still had a $75,000 financial sinkhole waiting for him at home. Yara, meanwhile, spun in the background like a low-rent Kris Jenner, furious that the fights were stealing focus from her party. It would have been sad if she didn't treat business ventures like fast fashion, here today, gone tomorrow, and forgotten by the next episode. And while Elizabeth was questioning whether her husband had any respect for boundaries, Jasmine was busy questioning whether her new partner even trusted her enough to share his future plans. Matt casually dropped the bombshell that he's moving to Florida, something he'd apparently known for a while but decided not to tell Jasmine until now. Her reaction was equal parts hurt and disbelief, and honestly, who could blame her? They lived together, yet he was planning a move in silence. Jasmine needs to ditch everyone. Still, you could see the wheels turning, Jasmine cutting ties with Michigan, ditching Gino's ghost once and for all, and setting herself up in Florida with Matt. The preview all but promised a bombshell revelation, and if that ends up being a pregnancy announcement, Jasmine's grip on the spotlight will be secure for the rest of the season. Gino is out here playing the role of a scorned soap villain, swearing vengeance while cutting off family members with melodramatic texts like "Have a nice life." The man has lost his wife, lost his dignity, and is now losing relatives, but still thinks he's in control. At this point, Gino's confidence is its own reality TV subplot, tragic, baffling, and somehow still entertaining. What does he have to gain from proving Jasmine is a villain? He has older seasons of their time on the show to prove that he's been no oil painting of a husband. He's a disturbed individual. Just in case things weren't messy enough, Brandon and Julia's attempt at a second wedding ceremony reminded everyone that Betty doesn't need an invitation to make herself the star of their storyline. With Julia's parents involved this time, it should have been a sweet celebration. Instead, Betty slipped right back into micromanagement mode, dictating everything like she was the producer of the event rather than the mother of the groom. Brandon and Julia, with support from Julia's mother, finally snapped back, but the preview made it clear the meddling won't stop there. Brandon needs to have a word with his parents. Ron and Betty appeared to be praying for bad weather to derail the ceremony, as if divine sabotage was their last hope at regaining control. What tied all these stories together was the glaring lack of trust. Kara and Guillermo's marriage crumbled because they couldn't believe each other anymore. Elizabeth realized Andre was violating her privacy while claiming to protect her. Jasmine learned Matt had been holding back life-changing news while still expecting her loyalty. Brandon and Julia struggled against parents who couldn't let go of control. Each couple was tested in different ways, but the common denominator was mistrust, whether between spouses, friends, or in-laws. By the time credits rolled, nearly every storyline was dangling over a cliff. Kara was gone in tears, Elizabeth stormed out, Jasmine was left stewing, Brandon braced for yet another round of parental sabotage, and Gino was plotting revenge in text messages no one will ever take seriously. It's not about love stories or happy endings. It's about mistrust, egos, and the inevitable explosions that come from couples who are better suited to dueling than dating. The episode proved that when the cast is messy enough, you don't need fancy twists, the drama writes itself. And if there's any justice, the next installment will finally be the one where Gino's smug little grin gets wiped clean off his face.